Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight was. But right now, it's at the end of the night, and Starlight already made this video, but where did it go? I don't know. So anyway, it disappeared off my phone. It went into the black hole. Do you guys ever know have you ever had stuff that you lost, you never found it, you never could get it? Well, believe me, it went in the black hole. So anyway, I love you so much, and I hope you are getting out in nature, and this is a great time to reach out to your loved ones, get out for a hike. And if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't be afraid, don't be shy, swing by and say hi to Starlight. And you can do that by leaving Starlight a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. And you could share my videos with your family, your friends. A cockroach? Yeah, it's a cockroach. And, what else? A fly. We'll do some bugs. Why not, Bug off. So, besides those bugs, what does it mean when you see a cockroach? Ooh. Or any bug. What does it mean? So anyway, those are messages from the universe. And also, you could follow me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. And also, don't forget that notification bell. And anyone that would love to send any love donations, you can through my Cash App, and I will have that information here. Ding! There it is. And so here we go. I'll tell you what, it's never going to be the same kind of video I made earlier. So today's video is about, what are you putting off? What are you putting off? You're putting stuff off, procrastinating, like there's things like things-to-do list where you got this thing and it's just like there, but you're avoiding it. You're kind of putting it on the back burner. Why? So this video is reasons why sometimes, we procrastinate, or, ignore certain things or put things off. So a lot of times some things, depending on what you're dealing with, it could be fear. You're afraid to maybe start something that's new and different, and it could be scary, to start something new. And also, maybe you got to face something and you don't know what what is going to happen. Like, also, you want to go get a job, but, there's these fears of, going to get a job, and then the interview. Starlight does not like the interview. Like I said in the other video, I had these beautiful shirts for interviews. They were my power shirts, I love these dressy, nice, really dressy. I had a beautiful white dressy shirt and a nice black button-up dressy shirt. And the only thing is that they wrinkle so bad, so Starlight had to let them go. But, it's nerve-wracking to go to an interview, at least for Starlight is, but that's what I'm doing. I put my superhero business suits on, business lady clothing. I take care of everything. Everything is done to the max. I mean, everything is taken care of, I trim my nose hair, clean out my ears, floss my teeth, shave everywhere, trim up or whatever. That is what Starlight does. When I go for a business, anything business type, Starlight's like, I do not mess around. So, but it's nerve-wracking, going to the unknown, finding the address, going in the building, getting to the right room, meeting the right people, and remembering, why you're there. And so it can be nerving, and we can put things off, but this message is to inspire you is, you know what? That fear is an illusion that you have. You're creating that fear. And the more we think or ponder about those things, is we can, that fear can grow. And now, it gets more intense, Now I'm going to bring you all back to when you were going to school. And so, and I know how I was when I was in school. Like, you're in school and and this could be almost any class in school. So like with gym, you're in gym, and the gym teacher is like, okay, we're gonna play a new game in school or something like that, and you're gonna have to do stuff in front of the other kids, and it's one person at a time gets picked to do these different things, and you're all in line, and whoever's in first, they got to do this thing first, and do it in front of everybody. Isn't that scary? So Starlight, now what kind of person were you when you were in school? Did you want to be first in line, or did you want to be in last, or did you want to be in the middle? Where did you want to be, as far as having to do something embarrassing in front of all the kids, and especially if you weren't a popular kid, and definitely Starlight was not a popular kid, even though I was a beautiful girl growing up. Is when you're not popular, most of the time you're the last one getting picked, or nearly the last one getting picked in school. That was Starlight. And it had nothing to do with really what kind of a player you were in sports or whatever. It was like, hey, I'm going to pick my best friend. Even though they might suck at the sport, it wasn't really some people, they picked the best players in the class. That is smart, that's what it's about. But that's how schooling was. But Starlight was the type, but when I was younger, and as I aged, and was going to school, I really wanted to get in the front. I didn't want to be in the back, because I knew what it was like being all the way at the end. The pressure gets really on. And that's how it is in life, as far as, fears that we have. They grow in time. So that is why, you got to be careful, is because we create that fear in our own imagination, thinking of the worst case scenario. And also, when you're dealing with stuff that's kind of scary to do, is you really don't want to tell really anybody, depending on who they are, though. There's some people you might say, hey, I got to go to court this week. And what are they going to say? Have you ever been there? I know I've had some crazy ass families, but some of my family, the one in particular, was very fearful. So you didn't really, I learned in time, I didn't want to tell him certain things, because I realized if I tell him certain things, he's going to intensify everything and make it, here I might have had like this much fear about something. By the time I get done leaving his house, I'm scared shitless, because he put his fear onto me, because that's the type of person he is. So that's what you got to watch out for, is like during COVID time, you really got to be careful. Who are you going to open up to and say, hey, I want to ask this girl out? And maybe you've been talking a lot, to your friends or family, and said, you might even show, hey, this is what she looks like, this is what she's about, this blah, blah, blah. And you got to be careful. I'm telling you, not everybody wants you to be happy. Not everybody wants you to get hooked up. I know I've had family members that definitely, if I said, and this happened many times over and over again, I would like, oh yeah, I was talking to this guy online, and and saying different things about the man, what I was learning about him, what he likes to do, if possibly if we were already, messaging each other through a phone, I might even show a picture, and I did have family member that would be all over, his ears would be like this big, you know, listening to everything I'm saying, because didn't want me to be with anybody, didn't want me to be with anybody. Why, Starly? Why didn't he want you to be with anyone? Well, you know what happens when people get together with somebody new? Ask my grandson when he had his first girlfriend, he was ignoring everyone. People would call him, you'd be lucky if he responded to you. But it was like nobody was really there because, it's new, it's fresh, it's exciting, So that's why there's people that, you got to be careful. You got to really listen to yourself as far as who you want to date, because not everybody wants you to be with somebody, because they could be afraid that if you get hooked with that person, they might not see you anymore on the weekends. Hey, where are you? Hey, yeah, I'm with my new friend. We're out going to dinner this weekend. And then when you get back together, they will be listening to everything you say, and their ears even got bigger because they want to look for any way of telling you that person is not good for you, and that you got to be careful and all this stuff. So you got to be careful of the people, if they're full of fear, they're going to plant it on you. If they're jealous, if they don't want to share, and I'm saying, when I say share, that means like, to let other people enjoy your company. Not everybody wants to, see you with somebody because they're alone and they don't have anybody. So you really got to be careful of the type of people that you communicate with and open up with when it comes to fear. Other people also is distractions is why we can actually put things off, and this is all these things. I'll tell you, Starlight went through a lot of these things, but I was supposed to do this one thing that's really important. It was really scary, but I was doing I am affirmations, trusting the whole thing, and then bam, I got sick. Then I felt better, and then bam, I ended up I had to go into the ER because of a tick thing, and making sure I didn't have the Lyme's disease. And you know what? Then I went on another trail somewhere, because now I was like, I gotta go do this thing now. And so Starlight went on this path where I forgot what the most important thing was to work on. I got distracted and got caught off on another trail. And I'll tell you what, in life, you could go on that trail, and before you know it, you get on another trail, like in hiking, There's trails that, with hiking, even roads and all that stuff, you got like a, just like we have main streets here and throughways, and then we got dead end streets and, all these things. And just like, I always looked at life like the way the world is, with all these roads and dead ends, and, sometimes you got like a circle kind of a road that they have those kind of places like in towns where, I don't know what they call them, but it's just, that's how the road is. It goes in and it circles around and comes back out, and everybody kind of parks around in that circle. So you could just, it's kind of like a dead end. But, like life is like that. There's times that we go on one road or one path, like on a hiking trail, and then there's a trail that goes off, but the trail still keeps on going, and then we go off, and who knows where you're going to find yourself, and then you get sidetracked, and then you realize, like, how did I get over here? And just like in the woods going hiking, like if you don't look at the map, and you sometimes Starlight does, sometimes I don't. A lot of times I take a picture of the map just in case I need to use the map, but I really want to work on my intuition and go through the woods without using the map. But just like going out in the woods is, like you're going on all these turns, and that's what we do in reality in our own life, is that you can get off track and start doing this other stuff, and then somebody could pull you off of that trail, and now you're like Now you're trying to figure out, how the blank do I get back to my car? Because you gotta, get out of there. It's getting dark. And just like in life, you can get a little lost and sidetracked. And so that's why it's so important to really focus on the most important things that you got going on. Like if you got deadlines, like Starlight just had a deadline thing. I was going in the wrong direction, headed west. And the universe gave me a sign, wrong way. And then a confirmation number, to go with that, and telling me that you're going to have trouble if you keep going in that direction. Because what it was, I didn't want to go that way. Because there was fear. There was things that I had to face. And I was trying to avoid it by going this way. And I didn't want nothing to do with going in that direction. But the universe was letting me know is you got to go this way, Starlight. And you don't want to argue with the universe, because you're never going to win. You will have a very, very hard time if you think you're going to win against the universe, in this lifetime here. So you got to really listen, because the universe knows what's best for you. And so the universe was actually pulling me back so I can face this problem, because if I don't face it, there's going to be problems. And so the universe was kind of nudging me and giving me wake-up calls and getting my attention, because there's times we don't want to face those fears, and we don't want to face those certain things in life that can kind of be scary. But the universe wants us to break that fear and to trust. It's our imagination, by listening to other people, what they say about what you're facing. And nobody really knew what was going on. Mainly the whole time, only one person knew, but really at the end, then I had to kind of reveal and let people know what was going on. And believe me, people, would be shocked to hear this. And I just told a young man today what was going on, and he was mind blown of what I was going through. But of course, nobody of you guys and girls know what I been going through. But when I get through this, when I complete it, I will make a video, and you're really going to want to look out for that video. Your mind will be blown. And that's what I was saying in the other video, is what I endured and what I was facing. And it's amazing, because faith, when you believe and trust, you'd be amazed how the universe will help you through some challenging times in your life. And that is what the universe only was doing with me. But it takes time for you to understand. The universe is not trying to hurt you, but guide you to let you know you got to face this. You got to deal with this now, And so when you do, you know what? You'll realize, I got myself all ready today for this thing that I had to face. At first, I had things going on, and then I got sidetracked. And then the universe had to nudge me again and say, Starlight, you got to deal with this. And the universe will use people to give you a message to say, you got to get over there and work on this. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. But you know what? I did get through today. And I'm so amazed, and I'm so happy, and I'm so relieved. And a lot of I am affirmations in the morning. A lot of everything is going my way. I was doing a lot of positive self-talk this morning, and that is how I was able to get through these obstacles and things that I've been dealing with for more than, I don't know how long. It's been a long time. So a lot of months doing what I was doing. Most people would have never done what I did. You would have thought I was crazy. But anytime you're going through some challenging stuff that's scary, is you definitely want to be honest in all aspects of whatever you're going through, because you will be rewarded. It's not worth lying over. So those are things. And like I was saying, like getting off track, like out on a hiking trail, is, now you're like, you got to find your way back, back to where you belonged in the first place. And that's why you got to be careful of the kind of people that you surround yourself with and who you listen to, because they could be distractions pulling you away, and you got to listen to yourself no matter what is going on. If it's your house, don't let everybody else make the decisions for your house. And it's so hard because if you got loved ones, having suggestions to what to do with your house, like what color you want the wall. If it's your house, make sure you get the color that you want, So don't let everybody make all the choices for you. And because, you're going to have to live with it later on. And paint is expensive to do all that, and the time that it takes to do that, So stop procrastinating and face your fears. If you got stuff that you're dealing with, if there's a guy that women, if you want to go ask him out, or not ask him out, but hey, I'd like to get to know you. Are you seeing anyone? Because if you're not seeing anyone, I'd like to, go out and do something and see if we can be friends. You want to definitely take things slow, but a lot of people take things off because they get distracted. Life happens, then it's all these excuses, get distracted somewhere. Fear has a way of tripping us up and putting it off, and there's a deadline though. Just like facing, got to go to court for something, and you can make a smoother transition going there is by, doing the I am affirmations and facing your fears ahead, praying about stuff. And that's what I did all morning long this morning, was praying about stuff, doing I am affirmations. I am grateful. I was like, okay, I actually acted like it was already here. And I said, yes, thank you, universe, thank you for taking care of this mess, and I didn't do anything wrong. That sometimes, guess what? Life happens. And, so don't get scared, because that's the worst thing you can do. You got to really trust the whole process. So I really hope you get a lot of help from this. And you'll be amazed when I make that other video, when everything, you'll be amazed. You'll be like, holy shit, how the blank did you do that, Starlight? I'll tell you, faith. I got angels on my side. I have the universe, and I do have other people out there that are loving and supporting me. And so I'm so grateful for the ones that are there. You know who you are. And so thank you for being there and being patient with me and not giving up on me. And thank you for all of you that have been here, that helped me to get this far as I am. So I appreciate everyone, even if you're watching this video right now, I appreciate you. And that is what it's about. It's a balancing act. So I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace. Thank you for watching. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.